Hey everybody, happy Sunday again. Today is the Sunday before Halloween. Who's ready? Who's already stocked up on Halloween candy and who has banned it from their house? We're lucky since we live in a loft now that we don't have to deal with the Halloween candy, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, it's another Sunday and I nearly froze to death today. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but we were cleaning out Nana's apartment today, and yeah, it's cold. It was cold. So who lives, while we're waiting on some people to come in, who lives somewhere where it's already, like, you've completely skipped fall. You've just gone straight from summer to winter. We were at 80 degrees last week. There were a couple of days last week where we were still wearing open-toed shoes. You know, we were still wearing sandals to work, and we were still wearing, you know, like sleeveless shirts and things like that because it was like high 70s, low 80s, and today it never got above 39. It was spitting snow part of the day, and the wind was, it was horrible. And if you'll notice, I have on, of course I have on my sports bra from where we've been walking, but I have on a long sleeve shirt, and then I have on another shirt because I'm still cold. I'm still cold from working outside all day today. But anyway, let's get started. And we've got quite a few people here. Today is Sunday and it's October the 29th. Like I said, it's a couple of days before Halloween, and I hope everybody had a great week. And if you're watching this live with us today on October the 29th, then it's live. And so you'll notice that this is a chat. This is a live chat, so I have to do my little, you know, kind of public service announcement here. If you're watching it tonight, it's a live chat. I will be chatting with people. I'll be talking back and forth with them. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, or if you're watching it on my blog, www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, or if you're watching it on YouTube, that's just youtube.com/ifyouhaveanegg. If you're watching it one of those places and it's not Sunday, October the 29th, it is no longer live. But tonight, I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor. I want you all to comment on some things. This is going to be an interactive one. So I've got cards again. I've got activities for you all to do. You don't have to have cards. You don't have to take any notes. I'll transcribe everything for you. I'll go ahead and say I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm exhausted from packing all, you know, the last couple of days and moving stuff. But everything will be transcribed, so you don't need to take any notes. But I do want you to get, before the end of the chat, I want you to grab a piece of paper. And, okay, I'm wondering if my comments are turned on because I am not seeing any comments whatsoever. I'm seeing people get on here, but could somebody comment? Casey, could somebody comment so I can see if my comments are turned on? Because I'm scared now that they're not turned on. Yeah. Not seeing anything. I'm seeing it's giving me a notice of who's joining, but it is not giving me any comments. We may have to work on that for just a second. So, that's really, really irritating. Really irritating. I don't have Casey here with me. I think the iPad's probably dead. My guess is you all are talking to me and I can't see you, and that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a real problem because this is an interactive one tonight. So hold on for me for just a second. Let me see if I can get something else going here. I don't know why Facebook does this. It loves to torture me. It loves to torture me and not do what it's supposed to do. So let me see if I can get the iPad going here so I can see what your comments are. Again, my guess is y'all are talking and I just can't see it. And I don't know why. Because obviously I've not turned off comments because that would be silly. So let me get it going over here. And I do appreciate your patience while I do that. Y'all know how much this irritates me. So talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so while I am getting this going, let's talk a little bit about Halloween before we, before we get this going, because hopefully this is gonna work for me. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so while let me turn the volume down. Oh yeah, lots of comments, and of course my phone's not showing them to me. So let's just go back here real quick. Okay, Tedders is saying, can you see me? Yes, Tedders, I can see you. Debbie says now they're scrolling again. Susan says hi from Long Island. Hey Barbara. Hello Donna. Hey Kim. Hey Sherry. Hey Dolly. Hey Wendy. And hey Lori. Hey Sybil. Hey guys. So I don't know why on my phone I'm getting no comments. None. No comments. The comments do seem to be coming up on my iPad. Okay, again, it's just the miracle of television. Not television, whatever. It's the miracle of live things. So no idea why that's not coming up. So, but I'm glad the iPad seems to be working because this is an interactive one tonight, and it would be kind of boring if I was just doing this one-sided because I'm going to be asking you all questions. So, hey Lori, hey Melissa. I know Melissa says, gotta love Facebook, LOL. Yeah, exactly. I know, exactly, yeah. And Cynthia says, hey, I'm here. Yeah, and oh, and thanks, Lori. Lori says you look beautiful. Okay, I feel exhausted, and we're going to talk about exhausted here in a few minutes. And O'Dolly says, love your shirt. So this is a shirt that my accountability buddy Karen got me, and it says the gym is my happy hour. Yeah, so even though I don't go to the gym, walking is my happy hour. But yes, so but y'all know I'm freezing, so we talked about that for just a second. Okay, Janet's here, Allison's here, great. So everybody's getting here. So let's talk about Halloween candy for a minute. Today is Sunday. Oh, and Sybil's here, and Sybil's hubby says hi. Hey, Sybil's hubby. Oh, and he has a name this week. Sybil's hubby's name is Carl. So, hey, Sybil's hubby, Carl. So let's talk about Halloween candy real quick. Oh, Diane's carving pumpkins and listening in Michigan. Awesome. So Halloween candy. Who has some? Who has Halloween candy in their house? Not here. We do not have any Halloween candy. That would be dangerous for us. I used to buy it and then take it to work, whatever we didn't eat of it. And hey, Sheila from Iowa. But we used to take the rest of it to work. But then I'm at work with the candy. And I've tried buying things that I don't like, but I don't know. It just never seems to work. So I just wanted to remind everybody, if you have Halloween candy at your house or at work, or if you're planning on taking someone trick-or-treating, then you can find, I've got a pretty extensive list of Halloween candy with its smart points on my blog. Again, it's www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, but I also have a list on my app, and if you already have the app, you will just go to, and hey Betty, and hey Marlene from Florida. But if you already have the app, you just go to, it's the menu, I think it's the menu section, or it's the shopping guides. Go to the shopping guides section, and there's a section that says Halloween candy, and it has, I don't know, probably 50 different Halloween candies with their sizes and the smart points. So you can pull that up on the app if you need, like if you're standing there with your trick-or-treater in their bag and you go, oh my goodness, should I pick candy corn, or should I pick a sugar daddy? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, pick the sugar daddy. Don't pick the candy corn. Candy corn is one of my favorites. You're going to pass out when you see how many points it is. But anyway, so that's two places that you can find the Halloween candy. So I hope everybody will check that. And Wendy says it's been in her house for weeks, but she hasn't had any. So that's awesome, Wendy. That's actually an NSV, yeah, to not have any of the Halloween candy. Couple of things I want to go over. Again, this will be transcribed later on the blog. It'll be, which is www.ifyouhaveanegg.com. It will be, and hey Pat, it will be on here on Facebook, and this is the Facebook page, and I'll tell you why I'm saying the page here in just a second. It'll be on the Facebook page. It'll be in our Facebook group, our closed group, and if you haven't joined yet, I'll put the link in the transcripts, and you can request to join. Remember, when you request to join, please, pretty please, answer those 3 easy questions. How many weeks have I been talking about the 3 easy questions? I still haven't had anybody yet, though, that just put, watch the chat, watch the chat, watch the chat. I keep waiting for somebody with my same sense of humor to just literally put that on there. I've had several people mention that they've been watching the chat, but please answer those 3 questions. It so speeds up the process for letting you all in. As always, I have this running over 300 people that are waiting to get into the group that, I don't have time, especially this week. I have not had time and don't have time to go back and, double check everybody, check your creds, whatever, before I let you in to make sure that you're okay before I let you into our closed group. But anyway, so please do that. I also wanted to remind everybody that Weight Watchers has a new program coming up. This happens this time of year every year. So everybody remain calm. Can everybody just go, and hey Kathy, can everybody just go, and just take a deep breath. I'm doing the little, fingers. Everybody just take a deep breath. It's okay. Weight Watchers has a change to their program every single fall, and October is the time of year that it happens. We can all remain calm. This isn't one of the big change years. Dolly says she's a little worried. I think she means about the changes. Don't be worried. This isn't the time when they do big changes. So in past experience, the big changes come every 4 years. And little changes come every year, and the little changes are just tweaks. So Smart Points is still fairly new. I know a lot of us have already been doing it. This is our second year, but it's still fairly new, so they're still tweaking it. Trust me, everything that they're doing, and I don't have a whole lot of insider information that that nobody else has. So don't think don't think Oprah called me, and told me what was going on. That didn't happen. Some things I can tell you, I think we can all calm down about avocados. Still don't think avocados are going to be 0 points. So I don't think any of us need to, start buying up stock in avocados. I don't think that's going to happen. I have heard rumors that grilled chicken that, like lower or like high protein, low, really low fat, high protein meats, might be even less points. Maybe a couple of them 0. I don't know, just heard, just a little rumor that I've heard. I also heard, I heard a rumor on the name. We'll find out more on Tuesday night, so we'll know a little bit more about it, but I think it's all going to be good things. I think some vegetables that have not been 0 points, maybe, might be 0 points. But remember, everything that they're doing is just tweaking the Smart Points program, and everything that they do, again, is just to help us make better choices. This is not just about losing weight. This is also about being healthy. So everything that they're doing is to help us to be healthy while we lose weight. So anyway, I want everybody to remain calm. Again, just breathe, it'll be okay. But we might know some more next week. I think we're going to get some more information on Tuesday. So we should have some more information next week. Let's see. And I don't know, Lynn said something that confused me, but anyway, I'll come back to that. Okay, then the next thing, and I don't want to take up too much time with the pre-things because this is going to be an interactive chat, and I'm going to want y'all to do some stuff. Hey Lisa, the people who sent in their index cards first, the people that were first on the list. So you all will start reading off your names as they're getting packaged in envelopes. We'll start reading those off tomorrow night, a few at a time. And so be watching here on the page. Oh, that's why I said calling this the page was so important. So if you're watching this live tonight with us, you are currently on the page. This is the If You Have an Egg page. There's also an If You Have an Egg closed group. Hey, Lynn. And now I don't know why I'm waving over. I'm waving over here at the iPad because that's where I'm having to read since my phone is not giving me comments. But anyway, and so hi, Lynn. But anyway, so be watching here on the page. Now, if you're watching this later, if you're on the page, if you're on the If You Have an Egg page, and you'll know it because the page is the one that the cover photo has the little pictures that have some of the chats on there. So that's the page. Then if you're in the group, it has a purple background and it says, if you have an egg, let's see, if you have an egg, you have hope. So that's the group. I'm not announcing it in the group because there are ladies from, gosh, I think it's 7 different groups, 7 different Facebook groups, plus Instagram, plus Connect. There are people from all those different places who have sent in the index cards. I cannot go to every single one. I can't go to every single one of those groups and announce when they're going out. So start watching tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's Monday. So start watching tomorrow night as I start calling out names, and I'll be calling them out as they go into the mail. Now remember, there are, gosh, I think there's close to 100 of you all. So if you don't hear your name the first night, don't panic. That means you weren't one of the first ones to turn them in. So I'll probably do them in groups of 8 or 10. So we'll have, so we'll stuff, 8 or 10 envelopes, stick those in the mail, or take them to the post office. So, because I'm going to hand deliver them to the post office, and get them to put the postage on them. I'm not cramming these in a mailbox. Y'all are going to love these. They are absolutely awesome. And I actually am also getting a notebook that has, well, I have notebooks, but that has the sleeves you know, like to put pictures in, but I'm going to put the cards in there so that I can see the front and the back of them. Y'all are going to love the cards that much. But anyway, so I'm not taking this, not taking any chances. I'm taking them to the post office. So start watching tomorrow night for those. Okay. So to tonight's chat. Today is chat number 44. And hey, Betty, today is chat number 44. And I have lost my weekly. So I had the weekly for this week. Can't find it. John went and looked in the truck. He went and looked. We've looked through the mail. We've looked through the groceries. Can't find it. Luckily, I know exactly what it was about, so we're not going to panic over that. This week we talked about emotional eating. And this was the perfect week for that because we had to have everything moved out of my mom's apartment this week. So a lot of y'all know that about a year ago, my mom went into the hospital. I mean, we call her Nana, even though she's my mom. I still refer to her as Nana just because that's what we all call her. And then she became vegan a few years ago, and so we started jokingly calling her Vegan Nana. But anyway, so if I refer to her as Nana or Vegan Nana while we're talking tonight, you'll know who I'm talking about. So, okay, and there's a whole sub-discussion about people leaking, about people leaking information on the new program. Rest assured, the things that I have heard, this is not people leaking information. This is little, tidbits coming from people that are getting training, pre-training. So. Yeah, they'll be doing their big rollout. It's okay. It's coming. It's coming soon. Don't worry about it. So anyway, back to emotional eating. So this was a great week for this because we had to have all of Nana's stuff out of her. See, I've already called her Nana. We had to have all of Nana's stuff out of her apartment this weekend. Okay, she's been either in the hospital, in a nursing home, in the hospital, in a nursing home, in the hospital, in a nursing home. It's been a year. So I don't know if y'all, realize it had been that long. It kind of snuck up on me too, but. So we've been dealing with this for a year, and my mom is not the one who was supposed to get sick. She was not the one who was supposed to need to be taken care of to this extent. She's never the one that I expected. She's never the one that I expected to, to be in this situation. But anyway, so this was kind of bittersweet for me today. I did have some great help. My husband and one of his dear friends yesterday in the absolute pouring down rain. Now remember, all week long, Knoxville had, every morning on the way to work, I kept saying, oh my gosh, thank you God for gorgeous weather. Another gorgeous day in East Tennessee. Another gorgeous day in East Tennessee. Yet another gorgeous day in East Tennessee. And then move out day, packing and move out day, torrential rain. I mean, torrential rain. Temperature plummeted. Would that be 30, 35 degrees? I mean, it plummeted 30 to 35 degrees. And today it was absolutely freezing. So John and his friend Darius were a huge help yesterday. They got all the big stuff moved, got that all cleaned out. Then Casey came and helped me yesterday at Nana's apartment. And Alan took one for the team and kept Dusty for 2 days. He has had Dusty for 2 days so that we could get this done. And then John went back and helped me again today. And today it wasn't raining, but it was freezing. It never got above 39. A lot of what we were doing was outside, but it's all done. It's all packed. So this was the perfect week though to be talking about emotional eating, because I ran the gamut on emotions this week. I mean, absolutely ran the gamut, because we were rushed, even though it was a year. This has been a year coming, but when I finally decided to do it, I felt rushed. I was already tired. I was already aggravated with some people. I was already aggravated with her apartment complex. I understand that the place where she lives, that they hear everything. I mean, they hear everything. But I was like, really? I mean, she's not coming back. She's, could we just breathe for a second? Could you calm down just a little bit and give me just a little bit of space, to get this done? But anyway, so I was aggravated, I was sad that we were having to do it. I mean, there was a whole range of emotions. So the first thing I want to tell you is that it's okay. It's okay to have emotions, and all emotions aren't bad. Some emotions are good. Some emotions are high, high emotions, and some emotions are low emotions. But it's okay. It's okay to have them. And our leader Gwen told us something on Tuesday night that I wanted to share with you all. She reminded all of us that feelings are not fatal. They're just feelings. You know, you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, you're going to have happy, you're going to have sad, but the feelings are not fatal. And it's okay to have them, and it's okay to express them. It's okay to feel them. So if you feel sad, it's okay to cry. Have you heard the saying that we stuff our feelings? You know, have you ever heard somebody say, oh, I just, you know, I didn't want anybody to know that I was upset. I didn't want anybody to know that I was sad or upset, you know, or whatever, because I was afraid I would make them sad. And I just stuffed my feelings. So has anybody ever stuffed their feelings? Show of hands or thumbs ups or whatever. Has anybody ever stuffed their feelings? Yeah, guess where you stuff them? I stuff mine right here and right here. That's exactly where I stuff my feelings. So when I'm letting my feelings control my eating instead of me controlling my eating, you know, and you say you stuff them, you know, and I'm sitting there going, I'm so mad, I'm so mad, I'm gonna punch somebody in the throat, but I'm not really gonna punch them in the throat. So instead, I'm cramming in cookie dough or eating chips, you know, or whatever. So, you know, you stuff your feelings. Well, I stuff mine right in my mouth. And I think that's why we talked about this week, because feelings are such a big part, you know, of our weight loss management, you know, whether they're high feelings, you know, or low feelings, you know, both. So this is the interactive part. This is the part where I need you all to talk, and I need you all to talk a lot. And I'm going to say this too. So even though right now, live tonight, live on Sunday, I can see, you know, what you're typing because of the iPad. This is actually a perfect example of what's going to happen after this. So once the live chat's done, once y'all have gone on about your merry lives, you know, and I've, you know, gotten dusty and whatever, then I won't be able to see anymore what, you know, like it won't line up with what I'm saying. So here's the part where here's the favor that I need from you. So when I name off a feeling, and we're going to go through several, so when I name off a feeling, then, and Cheryl says live with Kelly. Yeah, it's live for sure, Cheryl. Live for sure, with all of its glamour. We should have a bloopers reel sometime. That would be hilarious. But anyway, so what I need y'all to do is when I name off the feeling and you comment on it, I need you to actually list the feeling. So as an example, the very first feeling is angry or annoyed. That's a big one for me. I eat when I'm angry or annoyed. So if I were watching the live chat, I mean, obviously I'm watching it, but I can't type. Technically, I could type. Hold on, because I've got two devices going on here. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to type here, and I'm going to put angry. So I'm going to put what angry does to me, and this is what I want y'all to do. So angry makes me want chips and a lot of them. Like empty, like bottom of the bag chips. So I'm going to post that. Let's see if it'll actually do it. Oh, it did it. That's awesome. So that's what I want you all to do. As I'm reading these off, I want you all, if that is a feeling, if that's an emotion that you relate to, I want you to type what the emotion was, and I want you to type what it makes you do, or how it makes you feel, or like what you want to do. So for me, angry or annoyed makes me want chips. I want chips. I want potato chips. Sometimes I want potato chips with dip, and I always want them with skim milk. I don't know why. And it particularly has to be very cold skim milk. So that's what happens to me when I feel angry or annoyed. So perfect. Shirley just typed, angry or annoyed makes me want to drink. Yeah, Sybil says, angry, annoyed makes me yell and cry. Which yelling and crying, actually, Sybil, is better than eating. That's better than eating. So Shirley and I are doing points. We're using points on chips. Pat says angry chips. Kim has learned to verbalize her anger. That's actually awesome, Kim, because that involves no points and it involves no weapons. So hopefully no lives are lost during that. Tedder's angry scream. Screaming is better because remember, your feelings are not fatal. Let's just hope that they're not fatal for somebody else if you get too carried away. Joy says angry makes her want to eat sweets and salty snacks. So, okay, so y'all see where we're going with this? Okay, the reason I want you to list them, when we get done, we are going to go back, and look at some of these comments and what we need to do with them. So, angry and annoyed. I was angry and annoyed that they were in such a rush for me to get Nana out of her apartment. I was angry and annoyed that rather than helping us or being supportive to us trying to get her out, instead there was a sign up on the dumpster that we couldn't throw away any of her trash. So, or not just specifically her trash, but because we had chosen to do it on a weekend, we couldn't use the dumpster. So we had to find another way to throw out trash. Angry because they were in a rush. Angry because they were threatening me. Angry because, I don't know, they were just being kind of jerks about it, like being a lot of jerks about it. So yeah, so I was angry. I was angry and annoyed, and it would have been super easy if I had gone and bought a bag of chips, or had chips, or if, and of course Nana doesn't have chips, but if she had chips, you know, at her apartment, it would have been super easy for me to open a bag of chips. And when I get angry and annoyed and I open a bag of chips, it doesn't matter if the bag of chips is this big or if it's that big. I'm going to eat them until I'm done because I'm mad and you can't stop me from eating this chip, and I'm annoyed at you, and I'm going to keep eating this chip. So, okay, you see where I'm headed with that? Okay, the next one. Oh gosh, and Janet says, when I get angry, I get a lot of housework done. Oh, I'm glad that's not what happens with me, or people would be trying to make me mad because I'm not a very good house cleaner. Yeah, and Betty says she doesn't get angry too often, so that's often. That's awesome. But Carla says angry makes her want to cry and then eat sugar. And isn't it funny? It's not funny, Carla. I don't mean it's funny, but isn't it odd that being angry can make you want to cry? Because you would think angry would just make you mad. You know, that you would just be like, you know, fists in the air. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do this to me. But it does make a lot of people cry, and then, you know, crying leads to other things. Okay, the next one that I had written down was sad or depressed. So who has trouble, you know, with the feeling sad and depressed? Who has issues with that and it makes them want to eat? So sad and depressed for me, same thing, you know, not same thing, but angry and annoyed. Don't ask me why, but angry and annoyed, specifically chips. Sad or depressed, sweet. I don't know why. Do not know why. You know, we're talking about my mom, Nana. When Nana's mother passed away, John came to get Casey. She was little, and she had been there with us all day long. Fortunately, our entire family was together, you know, when it happened, and she passed away very peacefully. But, you know, it was still sad. We had all been there taking care of her and things. But a little while later, he asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, you know, I'm waiting, because we had to wait on somebody to come, you know, pick her up, and we won't go into all the gory details, but I was waiting on someone. But I had, without even realizing it, and this has been years ago, but without even realizing it, I had eaten almost an entire tube of cookie dough. Had no idea I had eaten, didn't even know I'd opened the cookie dough, but I had eaten almost an entire tube of cookie dough. So for me, sad or depressed, and I don't really get depressed too often, I don't think. But the sad is sweet for me, and I do not know why. So yeah, and see, Sylvia is the opposite. Sylvia says sad and depressed makes her want salty snacks. I'm not salty snacks when I'm sad or depressed. Kristen said sad comfort foods. So maybe Kristen, what kind of comfort foods? Like macaroni and cheese? I don't know where you live. So, you know, here comfort foods would be macaroni and cheese, or, you know, fried chicken or something, or biscuits and gravy. That would be a great one. Carla says sad, eat fast food, ice cream, and sleep all the time. Sandy says sad, go to bed and avoid everyone. Okay, Sandy, I don't want you to go to bed and avoid everyone, but that's, you know, that might be better than eating though, you know, because you're sad. And again, you know, feelings are not fatal. It's okay. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay, you know, to cry if you're sad. And Wendy says when she's sad or depressed, she doesn't eat. I don't have a lot of emotions that don't make me eat. Obviously, you know, I wouldn't be here. But yeah, and see, okay, Marlene, sad equals donuts. She literally just typed sad equals donuts. So that's a very specific food for her when she feels sad. I can totally understand. Okay, so let's start and sorry, Carol says she doesn't discriminate. She's an equal opportunity, sad, depressed food eater. Sweet, salty, pizza, it's all good. Yeah. Okay, but let's switch to a different one. Happy and joyful. So we were angry, and, you know, and we were annoyed, and then we were sad, and we were depressed. But what about happy? And this is sign language for happy, and it just is so appropriate because it's like the joy is just leaping, you know, out of you. And anyway, if you want to learn a little sign language, it's this. It's joy. It's joy, happy. So you're happy, and it's just like leaping out of you. So when you're happy, or joyful? Does that make you want to eat? Think about it. When you're going to a wedding and you're so happy for the lovely couple, and you think, oh my goodness, it's so exciting, you know, Cindy and Bobby are, I'm just making up names, but Cindy and Bobby are getting married, you know, isn't it fabulous? It's such a happy, happy, happy occasion. What kind of cake are they going to have? I wonder what kind of food they're going to have. Who's the caterer? You know, a lot of people, happy and joyous, you know, is, you know, it makes them think of food. Today I had, even though I was sad, I wasn't really depressed about, you know, about packing Mom's stuff up. It was sad, but I did have some joyous moments, some, you know, some happy moments, but they still made me cry. I found my grandmother, well, I found my mother's, I found like a whole conglomeration of Bibles, but I found of course, my mom's Bible, but then I found her mom's Bible, so my grandmother's Bible, and it had her handwriting in it. And it made me really, really happy. And it made me a little teary, and I was glad that John wasn't there for that part of that, because then I found my Aunt Sis's Bible. And while I'm telling you these things, I'll try really hard not to get, you know, teared up. But I'm going to segue just a second. Casey says, is it weird that I want mashed potatoes or French fries when I'm happy? I guess this one is a potato-based emotion for me. Okay. So, yeah. So for Casey, happy is potatoes. Yay. And Tedder says when she's happy, she makes healthy food choices. Yeah. See, okay. Happy can be something healthy. Happy and proud, you know, happy and joyous can be something, you know, it can be something healthy. But a lot of times those celebration things are, yeah, Kristen wrote, Casey potatoes equals happiness and a little heart. Yeah. But, you know, but you think about it when you're celebrating something, you know, so I found my Aunt Sis's Bible, and it had her handwriting in it. And I thought, oh my gosh, my brother, it's actually my great Aunt Sis, which was my grandmother's sister. My grandfather's sister. But I thought, oh my gosh, my brother's going to pass out when he finds out that I found this. Then I'm going through my mom's stuff, and I found stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of stenography notebooks, you know, the kind that have the little spirals at the top and they flip, you know, like this, of food diaries. And I was so proud, you know, and that's another emotion, so proud of my mom, so happy and so joyous, you know, that I had found these with her handwriting in them, her food diaries. You know, it explained a lot about my weird obsession for recording details that literally are not going to make a lick of difference tomorrow or the next day or the next day or the next day. But she had stacks of these journals. So her doctor had asked her, when she found out she was diabetic years ago, 20-something years ago, when she found out she was diabetic, he had asked her to keep a journal of what she was eating. Well, I swear I think this is a precursor to today. These journals, and I should have brought one for you all to see, but these journals had like, so it would say like, you know, whatever day it was, you know, January 2nd, and it would have, you know, what her blood sugar was. She would record her blood sugar. Then it would have what she had for breakfast. And not only did it have what she had for breakfast, but pre today. Okay, we're talking from 20 years ago. So Smart Points has only been around not quite 2 years. From 20 years ago, it said how many calories it had, how much saturated fat, or how much fat it had. If she knew the saturated fat, how much saturated fat it had, how many carbohydrates it had, sugar if she knew it. I mean, she had all those details listed. She had all of those details listed 20 plus years ago, all of that stuff written down. And then it would say what her blood sugar was the next meal, then lunch, then all those details again, then, you know, and all that stuff. I mean, over and over and over and over and over again. Because what her doctor had wanted her to do was to record this so that as her blood sugar was going up and down, you know, and her A1C and all that stuff, that he could go back and look, you know, kind of like your Weight Watchers leader does. Think about it, girls. You know, when you're struggling, you know, when you've hit a plateau and you're not making any progress, you know, or your weight's going up, or, you know, or you're just, things just aren't quite clicking, you know, what does your leader always say? They always say, could you bring me your food journal? You know, can you show me what you've been eating? You know, or maybe show it to a friend, show it to yourself, you know, go back and look at it, and you can look at your journals and see how you're doing. She could go back 20 years and I know Dr. Bilbrey didn't need to know that much information, but she could go back. If he said, Doris, what did you have on, June 14th, 2001, she could have found the book and told him, well, here's what my sugar was that day, but anyway, so she could have done all that. But let me tell you this too, her doctor didn't ask her to write all that down. Literally, all he asked her to record was, what was your blood sugar? What'd you have for breakfast? So he meant like, I don't know what normal blood sugar, but like 185, my resting blood sugar is 185 or whatever. And then write, an egg, a piece of toast, orange, whatever, write down what she had. He didn't mean all that detail. So maybe that's where I get this weird obsession from. But anyway, it made me, even though it was a sad occasion, it made me happy. It made me joyful to know that that's where I got that from. Then I found her little walking charts where she was doing a challenge, a challenge with one of the, I think it was the Heart Association or somebody, and she was doing a challenge, and she had written herself the cutest little notes, like, tired, stayed in bed all day, but I still got my steps in. Or one of them I posted on in the Facebook group, but it said, but it was like, proud of myself today, or whatever. And these were not notes that she ever intended for anybody to see. So this is for you. This is for you. But just know that in the future, somebody, some other person, and I keep telling you all this, So what are you all? And I don't know if my girls who talk about this so much are here, but so if you plant, if something that you say tonight, so if one of these, that you're putting down tonight, like for Carla, happy equals cleaning and exercise. Somebody else might go, you know what? When I'm happy, that needs to be the time that I stop and clean something or get some exercise in. And yes, and Casey said acorn. So by typing this out, yes, Sybil says, I am an acorn. Tedders is an acorn. By typing this out for somebody, and Cheryl is an acorn. But what are you girls? By typing this out for somebody else to see, just like Nana, she never ever intended, she did not write that note to herself with the intention of me finding it 20 years later and saying, wow, that's an inspiration for me to get out and walk today. I'm exhausted, but I'm going to go walk today because Nana was sick 3 days in a row in the bed, but she still got her little steps in. So she never meant for that to be. So what are you? You all are planting acorns, but you all are yep, Tedders is right. Ta-da, just all of a sudden it came up. Yep, Tedders is an oak tree, Kim's an oak tree, you girls are my oak trees. And Cheryl says we're planting seeds. Yes, we are planting seeds. The last little thing that I'll mention about Nana, so we can go on to some of the rest of the emotions that I wrote down. I found 4 Ziploc baggies of, gosh, I should have brought this stuff. I'll try to remember to bring it or to show it to you later, but a lot of that stuff's still packed out in the truck because I did not have time to bring everything inside. But I found 4 Ziploc baggies of index cards, and y'all know, how I love my index cards. But I didn't know why. I found 4 Ziploc baggies of index cards, and they had, and I didn't really understand what they were at first. They had like a name at the top, and then I had all these little names, underneath it. And Lynn says she's an acorn, but she's going to be a tree someday. Lynn, by sharing with everybody, you're already an oak tree. You are already an oak tree. But it had people's names, or like just names, and then it had other names underneath it, and I didn't understand what they were, and I was thinking, what is all this? There's 4 Ziploc baggies. I mean, like, thick. 4 Ziploc baggies of this stuff, and I thought, what on earth? What is this? And then I realized my mom, Nana, and Casey share this, I'm going to call it a almost insane need to read. I like to read. I like to read a lot. I enjoy reading, but it's almost an obsession with them. That's what those were. It was index cards with authors' names. I didn't know what it was. Authors' names, and then all the books that she had already read. There are thousands, probably, hundreds anyway, maybe 1,000 books that she's read. But anyway, that's, okay, so I didn't mean to segue onto all that stuff from Nana today. I was just meaning this to say that was, even though it was a sad time, that was happy and joyful. Okay, So even though finding all of those things were happy and joyful for me, I started crying, and I don't cry very often. So you can ask Casey or ask anybody else that knows me. I normally only cry when I get mad, which is why I found it ironic that someone earlier in the conversation said that being angry made her cry. I don't think that's a very normal response. I don't know many people that cry, that actually cry when they get angry. I don't cry when I'm sad, and I don't cry a whole lot when I'm happy. And I know people that like, oh gosh, like my sister, and there's no chance of my sister being on the chat, so we don't have to worry about this. I can talk about her all I want to. But my sister, if the wind changes direction, she cries. If she's happy, she cries. If she's sad, she cries. If she's proud of you, she cries. If she's whatever, she cries. She cries at everything. I don't cry very often. But I was already wound up. I was a little angry. I was a little annoyed. I was a lot sad, about packing this stuff up. And then I started finding this all other stuff, and I got happy, and joyful over it. And I was hungry. Oh yeah, and Casey's right. She said, and my son-in-law, she is right. If Alan hears the right song, he'll start crying. And we have certain things that we can say to him to make him start crying. So, and Kim and Sylvia say that they're like my sister. Okay, so I'm going to sidetrack for a second. Did you all watch, so Kim and Sylvia, did you all watch the Lord of the Rings movies? When, so we're in this huge theater, and when Frodo gets, when the spider gets him and wraps him up, we heard, and we turned around and we were like, what on earth is going on? She's crying. We were like, why are you crying? Frodo got wrapped up by a spider, and we were like, oh my gosh, okay, whatever. But anyway, so I was a little angry, I was a lot annoyed, I was sad, and then this happy stuff started happening. So rather than call John and say, hey, you're headed back with the trailer, pick me up some potato chips, or pick me up some cookie dough, or pick me up a milkshake, or whatever, instead, I made a fun little game out of some of the things that I was finding, and I started taking things that no one needed. No one. Nana didn't need them. We didn't need them. No one needed them. And I took them one at a time and took them down the hall. And this is an example of how to distract yourself. Okay, because we're going to talk about that when we get to the end of this. That's an example of how to distract yourself. I wasn't hungry. I was not hungry. I was annoyed, sad, and then happy and joyful, but not hungry. So I thought, okay, I'm kind of getting, I'm here alone. I'm getting kind of antsy, look at all this stuff, that my mom had, whatever. Now, she had no food in the apartment. All the food was already gone. John and his friend had already taken care of all that. They had already gotten rid of all that, so there was no risk. Of course, the kind of things that Nana ate, I would have been snacking on, like, I don't know, twigs and bark and alfalfa seaweed or something. But what? What? Oh, hummus. Yeah, hummus. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the kind of junk food that Nana kept was, hummus. But anyway, so I didn't have to worry about that. But instead of calling John and saying, hey, bring me a milkshake or bring me something, just absolutely full of whatever from Starbucks, I made a game out of it. So I started picking up things that were, anyway, of no use to any of us. Like Nana had like 3 of exactly the same coffee mug. Exactly the same coffee mug. And it was a cheap coffee mug, and it was one that you would get at like Big Lots or something. And and people are saying hey. But it was I get John this weekend, so worked him like a dog while he was off this weekend, and he has to fly out again tomorrow. But anyway, that is true love, true love. Anyway, so I don't know if she got him like for a swap in the apartment or whatever, but I started as a game to distract myself from all of this and to distract myself from food. I made a game and I started taking stuff down the hall. So they have this common area on her floor where people exchange things. They work on puzzles, and they exchange things. So I took one of those mugs out and set it on that table, and I went back inside. And then a while later, a rock that somebody had given her that meant nothing to her or us, but she had kept it because somebody had given it to her. I took it out there. And then a while later, I took gosh, I don't even remember what all I took out there, but just little by little, I would take, when I would start to feel like, okay, I'm getting, I'm starting to think about food, or I'm going to, I'm starting to get kind of, verklempt or whatever, I would take something else out there and just check and see what was gone. Oh my gosh, they took almost everything. And I never saw anybody. I never saw anybody, never heard anybody, never saw anybody, but little by little, the little things that I took out there and left disappeared. Somebody was taking them. So I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was multiple people. But anyway, it successfully distracted me so that I never called John for food. I never asked for any, drinks that I didn't, need or whatever, but it distracted me. Okay, so let's get back. Whew, somehow it's already 8:45. Whew, and now I'm getting sweaty because I have on my 2 shirts. So let's get back to some of these emotions. Okay, who eats, or who has an overwhelming desire to eat when they get worried or anxious? And remember to type. So if worried or anxious is you, remember to type worried or anxious, or whatever, and then type what how it makes you feel, or what it makes you want, or whatever. I personally am not so much a worried or anxious eater at the moment. That is one of those where I don't eat a lot. Oh no, we've got a couple people talking about crying. Kim and Sybil. Well, see, Kim cried every week at the end of the Lassie episode. And it has continued as an adult. And Sybil said she cried at the end of Old Yeller. Yeah, but those are pretty sad. Come to think of it, the only thing that used to make me cry on Little House on the Prairie, if Pa Ingalls cried, that made me cry every single time, and I don't know why, because I don't normally cry over stuff like that. But yeah, so Sylvia says she has a 365 fitness planner and a journal that she writes her food in, and that's a great distraction and sort of a craft. So Sylvia's already sneaking into what we're going to talk about here in just a second, or in just a few minutes. So Lynn says when she's worried or anxious, she's not hungry. Same here. So I'm not hungry during the worried or anxious, but then when it's over, I don't know if it's like the adrenaline from the being worried or anxious, like and then when it's done and I'm, then when I relax, that's when I start eating. That is when I start eating, but maybe by then I'm annoyed. I don't know. Yeah, Tedder says anxious comfort food, mac and cheese. And it's so funny because when you say comfort food, mac and cheese is like top of my That's like that and biscuits and gravy is top of my list. And Tracy says that makes her want Doritos, specifically Doritos. Are y'all starting to notice a trend here? Had you even thought about that? Had you even been aware that when you had certain feelings or certain emotions that it made you want very specific food? I mean, like a very specific food. I guess even though I knew that until we did this exercise Tuesday night, I hadn't really thought of that. Okay, the next one, proud. A proud moment. Have you ever been proud of proud of somebody, or proud of yourself, or proud of an accomplishment that you had, and it made you eat? We had a lengthy discussion about this during our meeting Tuesday. Several of the ladies, when they would hit, have a good weight loss, or hit 5%, or got a star, or whatever, they were so proud of the hard work that they had done, they were rewarding themselves by going out to eat with food. Okay, I know standing here with no food in front of me, but standing here, that seems silly to me, but it's not. It's absolutely not. I mean, how many times have you been proud? I've done a great job. I've worked out every day. I've walked and walked and walked, and whatever. And I've done such, I've done such great things, and now I want food. But two of the ladies, super, super proud of them, realized it. And one of them in particular, Sharon, I don't think she's on here tonight, but Sharon said, "Hey, Mary." But Sharon said she realized that she was accidentally sabotaging herself when she realized, hey, every time I'm proud of, I did it, I did this. Now I'm going to go home and have whatever. And she was celebrating with food instead of in some other way. So proud, even though proud's a happy emotion, it was still not driving her to eat, but it was really kind of driving her to eat. And Shirley Ann says that when she's proud, she makes equals making a new healthy recipe. That's a great way to reward yourself for that. And Sybil, proud makes her want to reward herself with food or alcoholic beverages. I totally get it. I understand that. Here's a funny one. Silly. Does feeling silly make anybody want to eat? And silly could mean you're just feeling silly, you know, like I'm feeling silly today, let's do some silly things. Or silly could be like, great, you know, I feel silly. You know, I should have known that. I'm going to get a sip real quick. You know, I should have known that was going to happen. I feel so silly. And Kim says, I am annoyed that my internet keeps buffering. So Kim, as long as you don't make that fix that with food, you should be good. But how many of you feel, when you feel silly? So either silly, like, ha, I feel so silly, like just giddy silly, or silly, like, oh, I should have known better. So maybe in that instance, that would be like silly, or, silly or embarrassed for that. Let's see. Oh, and yeah, Cheryl's right. She said these are all types of things that are implanted in us from a young age, and she's exactly right. So, my dad, we were talking about my sister earlier, cries all the time. My dad, everything. He's anything, any event. If he's proud of something, he's crying. If he's telling a story about something happened in the past, he's crying. If he's, whatever, he's crying. My mom, on the other hand, I think I get my, eating habits from her. Okay, so anyway, so there's silly. What about tired and exhausted? Okay, that was me today, yesterday and today. So I knew this was coming, knew I had to get ready this. We had done little to nothing to get prepared because I didn't want to. I didn't want to face this, and I didn't want to get prepared. So I waited, and then yesterday we worked 6 hours, and we were fairly busy in the showroom, and then Casey and I went straight over, and the guys, fortunately, again, had gotten all the big stuff out, but Casey and I went over there and packed, and I was tired, and we worked until late last night, and then I came home and had to work on stuff, and then I got up this morning, and I was angry and annoyed because I had to miss church this morning because we didn't get a lot done. We did get a lot done, but we had so much more to get done, and I was already tired from work. So by the time tonight came around, I was exhausted. I had moved beyond tired and had moved on to exhausted. I get in trouble when I'm tired and exhausted. So John let me take a 30-minute nap. Actually, he let me take a 35-minute nap. I said 30 minutes. And he let me sleep an extra 5 minutes, which was very helpful. And instead of just going through, I make bad choices, and I'm seeing that a lot coming up. Tired and exhausted. Let's see, Lynn says tired and exhausted equals eat anything in sight. Sybil says tired, exhausted, bad food choices. Dolly says tired, bad food choices. Carol, tired, sleep equals sleep, not food for me. So good choice. Joyce says, oh boy, tired, I could eat the fridge. Not kidding. Donna says tired equals bad food choices. Everybody, Tedders, bad food choices. Everybody saying tired or exhausted means bad food choices. That one is a big trigger for me, just because I'm tired and exhausted. So we stopped and got food. We did not go, crazy eating it. We had not eaten lunch, so that could have been another, tired and exhausted plus hungry. Could have been a dangerous combination for me, but we kept it under control. And instead, at 6:35 at night, I had a cup of coffee, and then I made a small dessert that I'm going to try and show y'all how to make it tomorrow night. Maybe I need to get some cards done before I need to do another recipe. But if you can see it right here, you can see the remnants of it. So maybe at some point later in the week I'll show you that. But so instead of going berserk, because I'm tired. I'm still tired right now, and I'm exhausted. But instead of going berserk, I made a 7-point snack, a chocolatey 7-point snack, which is, I know, a lot of points, but that's a whole lot better than polishing off a tube of cookie dough. I don't even know how many points is an entire tube of cookie dough. But anyway, so yeah, so my 7-point chocolatey snack and the cup of coffee was a much better option. So tired and exhausted seems to be a big one for everybody. What about inspired or hopeful? If you feel inspired or hopeful, does that make you Does that make you want to eat? That one's not a bad one for me. But does that make you want to eat? And I'm going to run through these last, few pretty quick. Hurt. What if you feel hurt? I can imagine that would make some people, feel like they needed to eat, kind of eat their feelings. What about lonely? Did you ever think about lonely being an emotion? When you just get lonely or bored, maybe. Lonely, bored, we could use that one at this, probably in the same, kind of at the same time. I know some people that, when they get lonely, they eat. Yeah. And, so Sybil says hurt. She wants, she wants sweets. Dolly, hurt. She wants to eat. Casey, hurt. I want comfort food, cornbread and biscuits. Not necessarily at the same time. And let's face it, Casey, you would eat cornbread anytime. So yeah. So I think lonely and bored makes people eat. Sometimes, I used to catch myself eating. I try not to just eat in front of the TV. We keep the TV on a lot, just because there's so much noise at work and people with work and people calling from work, and whatever, that sometimes we just need that chatter in the background. But, I used to just sit and eat in front of the TV, when I was bored. And then sometimes I didn't know, like, again, I'd get done and I didn't know what I ate. But I think it was just because I was bored, and I was just eating. What about overwhelmed? If you feel overwhelmed, do you have any food things that happen, when you're overwhelmed? I'm back on the overwhelmed. I'm back on the, not necessarily want to eat, but then I think after I get done with the overwhelmed, then I'm annoyed. And then that's when I start eating. Yeah. And Tedder says bored chips. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Real quick, let's go through the rest of these because I wanted to tell you what to do after that. So terrified or trapped. I know that one was a big one for some people. Amazed or excited. Some people, again, you get so excited about something, you're just like, I'm so excited, let's eat. Let's go ahead and have something. And this one, I know this is going to be an odd one, but what about envious? Do you ever feel like eating something when you're envious? And hey, Nancy says, hello, darn, I forgot you were on. Nancy, you can just watch it later. It's okay. But still, I want y'all to comment. Oh, and if you are watching this later, so if you're watching this later on Facebook or if you're watching this on YouTube, still keep putting the emotions and then, how we've been commenting, because I can still see those. I just won't know if you don't put what the emotion was. I won't know where it was in the chat. But what about envious? So I have heard people say that. I don't think I have a problem with being envious, but I have heard people say. And we've got one lady in our group that she's so sweet, but she's so hard on herself. But she said the other day that she had gotten jealous or envious because of the person that she's her accountability buddy. She had gotten kind of envious or jealous of how well they were doing and that she wasn't doing as well. Okay, well, they're two completely different people, two different body types, two different eating habits. One works, one is at home most of the day. I mean, it's two totally different situations, but she said because she was envious, or jealous, that she kept eating and eating and eating. Well, why did she get to eat that? Well, why did she lose so much weight? Well, why did she get her 10% and I haven't gotten my 10% yet? Whatever. But then she finally hit her. Wait, I am not doing anything to help myself. Instead, I'm being mad at her. Instead of celebrating with her, I'm being mad at her. And I'm causing myself some problems. So, it's already 2 till. So real quick, let's talk about this. What could you do instead? So today, what are some things that you could do instead? The reason I want you to think about what you could do instead, this was the activity that I wanted you to, or for after that I want you to do. And yes, I know it's backwards because remember, I keep my phone turned around backwards. So nobody from YouTube tell me that this is backwards. But what I want y'all to do after we get off here is I want you to make something to go on either your refrigerator or the snack box at work or your pantry or wherever your dangerous spot is. So like if your danger zone, if you're feeling one of these feelings, so like when I'm angry or annoyed, if, and we already discussed that chips is going to be my thing that I'm going to go to if I'm angry or annoyed. First of all, I don't need to have chips in the house, but if I have something that resembles chips, I need to put this, you know, where I'm going to see it, where I can get to it. So what this says is, I feel so, and then just a blank space. And I don't want you to fill in the so part. What I want you to do is, when you feel, you know, when you're feeling like, I'm going to eat something, I'm going to eat something, and I'm going to eat all of it, or I'm going to eat, you know, whatever, and you're just walking around the kitchen or looking in stuff, you know, whatever. I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat this. I want you to stop. And Gwen taught us this. Stop and say, I feel so tired. I feel so anxious right now. I feel so hurt. I feel so happy. I feel so joyous. I feel so envious. I'm jealous. I feel so excited. However you feel, I feel so, and then, you know, mentally fill in the blank. And if whatever word you put in there, if it's not, I feel so hungry, if hungry is not the word, then don't eat. Don't eat anything. Do something else. And exactly, Lynn said, do something else. So if you're bored, what could you do instead? If you're bored, you could read a book. You could crochet. You could do something with your hands. If you're like today, I was a little bit sad and then a little bit joyous, you know, at the same time. So I made up a game, made up a game with the other old women, and put stuff out there for them to take. And then I went out there and checked occasionally. So, you know, that was how I distracted myself. And let's see, Lynn says, do something else. We wrote that in stickies and traded it with the person next to him. That's why, that way it's not in your handwriting. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, if any of y'all are near each other, you need to do that. And then Nancy said her leader had them write, do something else, and put it somewhere like the fridge or somewhere, you know, somewhere like that. Sandra says she cleans house and crochets. Lynn says she does a puzzle. Somebody in our group said they do a puzzle. So if you were, okay, so today, tired and exhausted. I mean, I was exhausted. I had passed tired. I was exhausted. So I took a nap and drank a cup of coffee. You know, I felt tired. I admitted, I'm tired. I am exhausted. And I was already tired and exhausted before we started. So guess what? I asked for help. There is nothing wrong. Again, remember, feelings are not fatal. There is nothing wrong with saying, I am tired. I am exhausted. I need to take a nap. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I need you to help me. I am angry, I need to go take a walk, or I need to call somebody, or I need to go check in with somebody, or I just need to slam cabinet doors, or I need to, yeah, Lisa says visit a friend. Exactly, you know, I am so happy, I'm so happy. I need to call somebody and tell them about it. I need to make a sign, I need to post it on Facebook. Something else besides eating. So, oh yeah, and, okay, and Karen said something that our Gwen says all the time. She said, I always ask myself if I'm really hungry. And then I ask myself, are you hungry enough to eat an apple? And if you're not, you know, if she's not, she just steps back. She steps back and just gets out of the situation. If she is, then she eats the apple. And Carol says, play with Dusty instead. Oh, that's right. Where is Dusty? Dusty, come here, buddy. Yeah, because it's about time to start wrapping up. And Dusty got a haircut this week, so y'all need to see that too. But, you know, snuggle with your dog. The lady that I was talking about, that was, she was envious, you know, or jealous of her, you know, of her accountability buddy. She's got a cat. So she just snuggled up with the cat, you know. But yeah, there's all kinds of these, you know, just think, you know, okay, so when I'm sad or depressed, I want cookie dough. Okay, what could I do besides cookie dough? I could call Karen, I could text Casey, I could snuggle with Dusty. There's a whole bunch of other things that I could do besides eat the cookie dough. There are a whole lot less points. So, okay, so everybody's gonna make themselves something. It doesn't have to be, you know, an index card. Obviously I have some kind of weird affliction with index cards that I got from my mom. But you're gonna write on something, a sticky note, a wipe-off board, the index card, whatever. I feel so. And again, if you're near other people, where you can get it in other people's handwriting, that would be awesome. But I feel so. And if whatever you stick in this spot, with whatever you're thinking, isn't the word hungry, then don't put it in your mouth. Don't stuff the feeling in your mouth. Do something else with it. Get rid of it. You know, get rid of it. Okay, let me see if I can get Dusty. Dusty, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Oh my gosh, he is, okay, talk about tired and exhausted. He's been up all day long. So you already know he had 2 nights with Alan, you know, had 2 sleepovers with Alan doing that. But he is exhausted. Let me see if I can get his attention real quick, and then we will wind it up for this week. Come here, Dusty. Come on. Oh, he is lazy bones. Here, buddy. So sorry I left for a minute, but here's Dusty with his new little haircut. The girl that trimmed him this time, it was our first time with her, and look, she gave him a little mustache. Is that not hilarious? So tell me, okay, if you were depressed or upset or whatever, wouldn't that make you feel better than cookie dough? Wouldn't this little furry thing make you feel better than a bag of chips? So anyway, so just keep that in mind. Everybody have an awesome and amazing week. And oh yeah, and so when we get some details about the new program, so whatever we find out this Tuesday night, I'll be sharing. So I'll go ahead and post it on here, and I will go ahead and say, oh, and Sylvia wants to know what kind of dog Dusty is. He is a Merrill Cockapoo. He is a spoiled rotten dog. That's what kind he is. Hold on. Ooh, anyway, yes, he is definitely a spoiled rotten dog. So what was I saying? And because I am tired and exhausted, I am not going to stay up and do the transcripts tonight, because I know what's going to happen. I'll start eating. So instead of continuing to be tired and exhausted and stay up and eat, I'm going to go to bed soon. I will go ahead and get this on, and Dusty is Tedder says Dusty looks tired. He is so tired. I'm serious. He has been up all day long because he's been watching us boxes out, boxes out, boxes in, boxes out, boxes in, boxes out, and he usually has like 11 naps by 5 or 6 o'clock. He hasn't had a nap yet. Anyway, so yeah, doing that. Okay, so when we get some more information on Tuesday, I'll be posting that here. I'll try to get the transcripts up as fast as I can, and don't forget to start watching for your name for the index card swap. And he's heavy, so I'm going to put him down, but start watching for your name, and they'll be here on the page. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, go back to the page. That's where we'll be listing them. So everybody have an awesome week, and hopefully it will not be 39 again all day tomorrow here in East Tennessee, because Karen and I would like to walk. Yeah, we would like to get some walking in. So I still managed to get 10,000 steps in today, which is not my normal for Sunday, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. So remember, everybody, if you don't feel hungry, don't eat. And everybody have an awesome week, and I will see you next week. Bye. See you later. Thanks for being here.